So today I'm here with Aisha Omidiya. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me,
Of
girl.
course. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. So your Instagram bio is Aomi, but your real name is Aisha.
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 Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so
yes.
what's the origin behind the username?
Well, my full name is Aisha Omidiya, but like when I was on Instagram, I just didn't want my full name. So I took the AI from Aisha and the OMI from Omidiya. I made Ayomi. And everyone just started calling me Ayomi.
It's
They're
cute
like,
though.
It's cute, right?
I was, because it's kind of like Naomi. I was like, is that her name? But I like Aisha much better.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that mistake happens a lot. But let me just start by saying I love your TikTok content.
Thank you.
Love it so much. You talk a lot about being a tall girl and how that has impacted your life both positively and negatively because you're 6'2". And I'm 5'10", so I relate a lot to your content, but we obviously have two different experiences. So have you always loved your height, or is it something that you've had to learn to love?
Great question. Honestly, I have always just accepted my height. I feel like I'm not one of those people that had like a crazy growth spurt and had to just like learn how to live being tall. I was always tall. Like from the moment I started understanding everything, it was just like, you're just a tall girl. It's who I am. And I loved being tall. I loved, talking to people about being tall. It was something that I always accepted. So I feel like I always loved it because it's always who I've been. And I didn't have to like struggle with, being tall.
That's crazy because I feel the same exact way. And I know that a lot of tall girls struggle with being tall just because, well, honestly, we'll get into why that is. But like, as a tall girl myself, I relate to you a lot, whereas I've always liked being tall. I just kind of lived with it. Like, I'm just tall and that's just what it is. I know a lot of us tall girls also struggle with wearing heels. And I love how on your platform, you're a huge advocate of tall girls should wear heels wherever we go. Why do you believe that?
I just feel like the idea that you shouldn't wear something because it makes you look a little bit different is just so like weird to me. I wear heels not just because of the actual heel, because they look nice.
Yeah.
So it's like, who am I to not wear a pair of shoes because they make me look a little taller? I'm already tall. And I love the feeling of wearing heels. I feel sexy, I feel good, I feel, confident. So whether it's a 4-inch heel, 3-inch heel, they're already looking at me anyway. Why not, look good while doing it? So
Yeah. I think the reason why a lot of tall girls refrain from wearing heels is because of this idea that like they don't want to be taller than most men in the room. And something I found that really helps me with that is like historically, like tall women are considered beautiful. Society loves tall women. Unfortunately, society does not love short men. So I feel like it's like, why are we, or why do we feel intimidating, or why do we feel like it's a bad thing for us to be taller than other people in the room? Like, I think that that's something that's really helped me with like the idea of wearing heels and feeling like, oh, I'm gonna be taller than like all the guys in the room. It's like, that's more embarrassing for them, not me. Like, what have you used to feel more confident about your height or going into rooms, being taller than most people in the room?
I mean, the reality is like when get to a point where you're like 6'2", I feel like when you're like 5'7", 5'8", you can sometimes be the tallest, not the tallest. But I'm 6'2". I'm always the tallest, whether I'm wearing flats, whether I'm wearing sneakers. So to me, I walk in a room and I feel powerful. Like I feel like I'm commanding the attention. I'm commanding people's attention on me. So it's like I walk in feeling like, I've just arrived and everyone knows I've just arrived. I love it, honestly. So the whole thing about short, everyone being shorter than me and like, especially men being shorter than me, it doesn't really bother me because it never stopped a real man. You know what I mean? And like, obviously you can look at my feet if I'm wearing heels. You can judge whether or not, okay, am I going to be her height, which is with or without heels? Am I okay with that? But I love it. And, any person that can approach me wearing heels is a confident person.
A confident person, and that's the kind of person you want to be with.
Exactly.
Right. I love how you said it makes you feel powerful to walk into a room. And I think that's where a lot of that insecurity comes in. Because when you think about it, height is often associated with traits such as assertiveness and leadership and dominance, which some might describe as masculine traits, right? So, no masculine man wants to feel feminine the same way no feminine woman wants to feel masculine. So I feel like going off of that point, you've also used your platform to talk a lot about the masculinization of tall Black women, tall dark-skinned women, to be, specific. And this is a real issue. So what's your experience with that?
Great, honestly, good question, girl. Because I talk about it a lot because I still struggle with it, honestly, to this day. I think in the combination of being tall, I also struggle with being a dark-skinned woman. And I face like a lot of criticism from people who have an issue with me expressing my femininity. I used to play sports a lot growing up, so no one had an issue with me being the athlete.
Right.
But the moment I wanted to, start wearing makeup and start looking pretty and start doing something that's out of the norm of what, people that are tall are supposed to do, people started trying to bring me back to that masculine side. And it was, for me, when it comes to wearing those heels and feeling powerful and those terms that come with being masculine, I think there's nothing wrong with being assertive, and you can still be very confident and assertive and powerful and still be feminine. You don't have to be this, like, literally wearing heels makes me feel more feminine. So I always tell, women say like, oh, I feel so, da, da, da. I'm like, I'm not going to the club wearing sneakers personally.
That's masculine energy.
Exactly. I want to walk in with my heels feeling sexy. It makes me feel feminine.
Yes.
And I feel like to anybody that tries to make me feel masculine or put me in this box, can't just accept or understand how someone could be so tall and so beautiful and so feminine. And men who want to, it comes from, I would say, mostly men.
Most of the time.
And it's always insecurity because they feel threatened by your stance and they feel like height equals masculinity because that's how they view their life.
Exactly.
And when they don't have the height, they don't feel masculine.
And they project.
No sense. And they project that. So it's like, wow, you're so tall, you're manly, because that's what you think it means to be a man. And if you think height has to do with being a man, then you're probably really sad and hate your life. Like, you know what I mean? I've never had an issue with like real men who are so confident in their height and who they are. Treat me less feminine. So I want every other girl to know that. Like, it's not about your stature. I have a deep voice too, a dark skin. So I carry myself in a very feminine way. So assert that, and I think people respect that.
As you should. It's crazy because some of the most powerful women, powerful dark-skinned Black women, Michelle Obama, Megan Thee Stallion, who else? Serena Williams, have been masculinized because of how powerful and how influential, and because of how tall they are, because they're all tall women, and that's something that we also have to pay attention to. I mean, there's an entire conspiracy theory about Michelle Obama being transgender. Have you seen that?
I've seen that. I've seen with Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes,
and
it's sick.
It's really ridiculous. Like,
it's sick.
During her trial with Tory, that happened. People were saying that they think Megan is a transphobic. Transgender. And I actually made a TikTok about how to respond to those comments because I find that like initially it can be triggering for women to hear those comments, but there's a way you need to like approach that without being transphobic in response. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to also offend a whole other community.
Exactly. Because there's nothing wrong with being transgender.
Nothing wrong with being transgender. But trying to use someone's identity as an insult is where the problem is.
Exactly.
Whether I was or wasn't, why are you trying to make that something that's about me? And I feel like everyone should just mind their business. At the end of the day, that's the issue, is that why do you care so much?
But people actually believe this, and that's really scary, and I think it's very insulting to Black women and very insulting to women in general, because like you said, what that says is that these traits like leadership, assertiveness, strength cannot coexist with femininity. And that's not true. But what I really love about your platform is that you're trying to reconstruct this very misogynistic mindset. You also talk about your experience of being a thick girl on top of being a tall girl. And I specifically love this journey that you've been on about posting on social media for self-love rather than posting for validation. So what does that look like? What does one look like when they post for themselves rather than for others?
Yeah, so I feel like for me, initially I would just like wear whatever I felt would like get me, like, I was already getting a lot of attention growing up, so I was like, I want to wear, I would think that being sexy meant, wearing extremely revealing clothing. And it doesn't mean you can't not be sexy and wear that, but I realized as I got older and time progressed that like dressing for your body type is really important. And it's not that you can also dress sexy and also dress where you're comfortable.
Right.
And if you're comfortable wearing, certain clothing, that's fine. But I found that I became really uncomfortable with how I was dressing. And like you said, when you have a body, you don't have to think about fashion. You can just wear whatever and you look good. So people are like, oh, you look good, you don't have to worry. But then I was like, I want to start thinking about fashion pieces and what looks good, and like it's kind of about creating appearance and showing what you want to show people when you walk out. Like when you walk out of a room, what do we want to look at you and think, oh, she looks really put together. And I really wanted to look put together. So for me, I started getting a lot of followers on social media really quickly, and I thought I had to just keep up with it and keep posting what I was posting and like posting more revealing clothing. And for validation, got the likes and this, that. It was like a game kind of posting. But then I realized it didn't matter to me. I wasn't happy doing stuff.
You weren't
for
doing
other
it for
people.
yourself.
I was doing it for other people, and I wanted to do something for myself. I wanted people to be proud of what I made, and you can make something through fashion, so people can be proud of you. And male validation really does nothing for me. I tell people all the time, I've like literally desensitized by how much male validation I've gotten in the past 3 years. I only really care what women have to say about me. Like if I feel beautiful, I look good, I know a woman's gonna appreciate what I've made.
Exactly. More so than a man, or for the right reasons.
Exactly, for the right reasons.
And also with the content creation that you're trying to do, the men are not going to be the ones who are going to boost your engagement and uplift you and watch your content and listen to your commentary. They're only there to look at you.
To look at you. I tell people this all the time. Like me using my voice, finally talking about how I feel. I was able to finally gain like a community of like tall women, thick women, black women, and like connecting with them has been so much more rewarding than just like
so much more meaningful.
Exactly, so much more meaningful. And now I do it for myself. Like I do what I want, and like I wear what I want, and like I don't care about, the likes and all the social media engagements. I do what makes me happy, because the reward and the payoff is so much more better than like the instant gratification from posting for other people.
That's why a lot of people say that if only men are following you, then you're probably doing something wrong. Or it's not going to benefit you in any way. But I feel like that can also be hard, because a lot of people in our generation use Instagram as like a dating app. Like a lot of relationships start like in DMs and like on social media. So how do you go about dating when you're just posting for yourself?
That is really, really good question, because I think there's a balance. I don't have to fully take away my sexy dressing. I can do both. And I want to show both. I love like the duality of myself. Like, I can be sexy and smart. I can be tall and feminine. I can also do my own creative thing and also still be extremely sexy when I want to, and be able to know when to turn it off is really important. Instagram is interesting. I literally made a TikTok about how like Hinge is dead, Tinder is dead, Bumble's dead. It's only Instagram where I'll kind of like try and date now. But I find that like, again, some men are intimidated by me. So when I go out, it can be hard for men to approach me who are interested in me. But I find on Instagram, I put my height in my bio as like a plus, but also as a warning, hey, just so you know, so there are no surprises. This is how tall I am. And whoever approaches me,
it helps you filter out like
helps me filter out. So dating, I think really the issue is dating in New York is just extremely difficult. Like New York men are they're a different breed.
Oh no.
Okay, it's not, especially in the summertime. It's for the dogs. It's a dog summer. It's not.
Oh no, we don't like that.
But I've dated, and a lot of my followers talk about they have issues dating as a tall woman. And I find that so interesting, because
you're like, not me.
Not me.
Can't relate.
I literally can't relate. Like I'm like, it's so interesting. It could also be because I'm in New York and there's so many people here. But like, my height has never stopped me from dating. Now, if you're like in middle school, high school, you might, because I realized that there's like the stage where men feel okay dating women that are taller than them. They don't really feel, their masculinity threatened. But it's just about exploring your options, and the right person will come for you. You never know who's really looking at you and is just kind of nervous to say something to you. That happens a lot. But dating is, it's going. And I never felt like, oh, I'm too tall today, or these guys don't like me. I never even think about myself. I forget I'm tall sometimes. I'm like, oh, wait a second.
That's
like,
amazing.
Tall.
I love that. Like, I feel like you're at a point where you're so comfortable with yourself that even this conversation might be something that you really have to dig down, or maybe remember like an older version of yourself, but like at this point in your life, it doesn't even affect you much anymore. And I love to hear that. But you have talked about how you felt like in your previous, dating experiences, you felt like there were men who were dating you just for your physical traits. How do you deal with that? How do you navigate that?
I feel the one thing that I love about men is that they really tell on themselves really easily. You can tell pretty early on like what like a guy's intentions with you are. You have to just listen to them and like take it seriously.
Yeah.
I've had men who like want to have NBA babies and like like I'm tall, you're tall, what's up? And like total disregard for my personality.
Terrible.
Like it's like they don't even care. Like,
that must be like the worst breed.
It's so weird. Like I've had men who like want to breed me. Like it's really a whole, when you're tall, like the whole world out there is just so different.
Yeah.
But I'm the type of person, like the same way I don't want a guy, the same way I have more to offer than my height, same way I want in a person as well.
Of course.
So like guys who obviously want to like talk to me or date me for like physical reasons never last very long. Or just they always wonder why. I'm like, I'm not interested. Like I want the tall guy who's also interested in other stuff and what he's doing in his life and just happens to be tall. 'Cause that's how I feel. Exactly. I didn't choose the basketball route. I stopped playing basketball. I want to live as myself. It's not your whole
personality.
Exactly. It's not. So I want someone who also like, we're both, I like tall guys, okay? Period. I like tall guys, but also what else are you? And like dating that too, I just avoid all those guys who are trying to like have other motives. And you can tell pretty easily. But like, I'm very picky for that reason because I want to make sure when I pick a good guy, like all the other stuff they're thinking about comes later.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, besides all of that, you recently graduated from NYU. Congratulations. Yes. What did you major in?
So I have a BS in business and I'm concentrating in data science and marketing.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I love the sound of that. That sounds good.
Like, it's amazing. What are your career goals?
Yeah, so I feel like currently right now I'm gonna move to Seattle to work in tech.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a product marketing manager. So I'm gonna
Black
work
women in tech.
Black women in tech, period.
We love it. We love it.
That's right. But yeah, moving for tech, but I feel like a lot of people in my school don't know what they want to do yet. That's fine. And even me, even though I have a plan right now, in the future, I kind of want to work on like being more creative. Yes. And like doing stuff for myself, starting my own business. And also like, I hope that in the next 2 years, like TikTok kind of takes off for me. So I can like,
that's what I was going to ask you about is do you want to take your content to the next level and kind of be at a point where you can do that full time as well, or is it more of a side hustle? I
feel like for now it's going to be a side hustle just because like even influencing like money is like go up and down. Sometimes you have good days, sometimes you don't. And I'm going to rely on my job for like my main income, but like honestly, if I could really like I really love what I'm doing. Yeah, I really love that I'm inspiring people. I literally met a girl 2 days ago at this party. She's like, by the way, like you're the reason I'm wearing heels today. Like I'm like
that's why you do it.
That's why you actually do it. Like, and I've garnered that like community. And so I want to like hopefully one day like I could take it off if I want to. So if I find that I'm really creating that community with people, I can become a full-time. Start my own business. And tall girl brand. Exactly. I really want to do it. Like shoes, like even these shoes I'm wearing now. Like I want cute shoes for women with bigger feet and jeans that are nice and fashionable also are very long. Like that's what I want for us. And we deserve it so bad.
We do. We really do. I love that you're doing all of this. And the reason why your content does so well is because one, you have that niche, you have that community, but you also know how to be vulnerable and open. So yeah, I think that you're gonna go far. You're gonna go places for sure, no matter what you do. And you should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you
so much for talking with me over tea.
Thank you.
This always happens. It's okay. We always do it.
Oh my God.
At this point, it's like a tradition. Like, I don't know. Let's take a sip. But
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.